got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
Welcome back to another episode of Trending Fantasy, only on DD Fantasy Football. I'm John Bauer. We got Mitch Sorensen. Today, Mitch, we want to talk about Dynasty's most traded. And of course, we are going to be using the resource over at dynastydaddy.com to go through some trades and hit on these top 5 players. Now, we did cheat a little bit. The players we're talking about today, they're top 7-ish. We left 2 of the top 7 out. Just didn't feel like talking about them today, but also we talked about them somewhat recently. So first up, Mitch, Jalen McMillan. And you can see if you've never been on dynastydaddy.com, the bigger the bubble, the more trades. And then you can hover over it. Jalen McMillan, 224 trades over the last week. And I believe that's based on the filters I have set up, but that's the most trades over any player and certainly the most across the wide receiver position. How do you view Jalen McMillan before we get into a few trades here?
So it's hard because I understand why people want to buy into him, right? Like I totally accept it. The problem is if you pull him up, with wide receivers, I 100% believe in the Trinity score tool that we have on DD Fantasy. You know, Ray built it. It's awesome. I put a lot of stock into that. If you look at, like, he came on late in the season, had a touchdown in multiple games in a row. You put starting week 12 to week 17, he ends up with like a 5.0 Trinity score, which is fine. It puts him as, like, if that was over the course of the season, be like wide receiver 75 as far as the Trinity score goes. For me, I just think he's a guy that a lot of people are going to buy into because, hey, you could talk him up as being the wide receiver 2. Baker loves throwing the ball. They don't really throw to K-Daw in. Godwin's going to be on a different team. But at the end of the day, I think all he's going to be is a wide receiver 2.
And maybe Chris Godwin is going to be on another team.
Yes. That's foreshadowing a little bit.
They pushed out the void date, giving them until March 12th to agree on a long-term deal. So maybe they're trying to work some things out. They can't tag him because it's going to be after the tag date. And then just from a pick perspective, the Buccaneers, they're coming into the season, picks 19, 53, 84, 120, and then a few others. But Jalen McMillan, 23 years old, under contract through 2027. They got the new OC, the former pass game coordinator, and Liam Cohen is moving on. KTC wide receiver 39, Fantasy Calc wide receiver 39, but between picks 112 and 201, I cannot see myself moving one of those picks for Jalen McMillan, even if there isn't the concern and the thought that Chris Godwin could be returning. You look over the course of the entire season last year, Jalen McMillan, 37 receptions, 461 yards, 8 touchdowns, wide receiver 48. It's like a solid, really solid rookie year. 10.4 points per game in PPR formats. You look at week 14 through week 18, wide receiver 11 at 19.8 points per game, 7 touchdowns in that 5-game stretch. So listen, I know it always sounds silly to say, hey, a player scored too many touchdowns, but his 7 touchdowns accounted for 42% of his points over that 5-game stretch. And that was with Chris Godwin out. If they don't bring back Chris Godwin, I still think it makes a heck of a lot of sense to use pick 19 for another receiving weapon, because I would be shocked if they go in with Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan, and K-Daw as their primary receivers. So getting into a few trades here, and these are, we have not looked at these trades. I have not looked at them, at least. They're coming up now. I kind of want to spend time on ones that focus on Jalen McMillan as one of the centerpieces of the trade. So let's look at this one right here. Rome Odunze for Jalen McMillan, 111 and 211. 12-team Superflex.
Yeah, I'm still all in on Rome Odunze. He's by far a better prospect. Coming in this class, he would be the wide receiver 1 Like, I think easily in the 25 class, if he was coming out today, that would put him at the 103. So you're telling me 103 for like the 111, 211, and Jalen McMillan? Yeah, I'm smashing Rome Odunze.
It's really tough because you look at a lot of the trades, it's tearing up from Jalen McMillan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this one right here. Jalen McMillan in 106 for Jackson Smith and Jigba in 305. 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR.
Yeah, for me, it's really close to the 106 or Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's kind of how I look at it. I know Jalen McMillan's worth a little bit more than the 305, but
well, a lot. More.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I love JSN though. I'm taking JSN in this.
See, this is where we're going to split because I would actually take the 106 side here.
Nah, JSN's a stud, dude. We hope the 106 can turn into JSN.
I get it. But I think we did see enough, despite what I just said, from Jalen McMillan. But that 106, I think it's such a good move and structure. And let us know in the comments, this type of move where you're getting the value with the pick, you're getting potential production in Jalen McMillan, or you of the mindset, and this is something that Ty just did on the All Gas Trade Show. It was tearing up for a wide receiver. So where would you fall on a trade like this? Let us know in the comment. And then also make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment. It helps us out. We are extremely grateful. And I know a lot of people are already subscribed to the channel, so not much you can do there. Maybe subscribe twice. I don't know. Let's see here. There was one down here, and then we'll move on. And again, a lot of these, it's showing the market on these players, but how, you tie into that fantasy calc value, which is based on actual trades that have been completed and getting to that 112 to 201 price tag. Jalen McMillan for a 26 second and the 308.
This one, I'm Jalen McMillan. Just because that 308's kind of whatever. 26 seconds so far in the future. I don't know if it's the 204 in that draft, the 12 team, the 212. Yeah, I'm 100% Jalen McMillan.
I think this trade, though, speaks to the range that I would be looking.
Yes.
Like that's kind of where it is. So if I'm able to get that wide receiver 39, that 112 to 201 price tag on Jalen McMillan, I am certainly cashing out. I have him, full disclosure, in that tier 43 to 55. So if I can get out at that price, that's where I am. Now, going over to the quarterback position, Mitch's favorite, Michael Penix. He is overall number 2 most traded, the top quarterback traded, 212 trades. He's entering his age 25 season in year 2. You got Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson both returning, so no changes there. KTC quarterback 18, fantasy calc quarterback 17, between 103 and 104. In one of my leagues, I saw a trade. It was 102 for Michael Penix straight up. So that's kind of where we are. And it goes back to what we talked about a few weeks ago, the Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, or Michael Penix. I think that's a good split there in terms of returning quarterback. I want to say veteran, year 2, or the incoming rookies. Now, again, I'm a little bit lower. I have him at quarterback 19 to 23. Quick stats before we get through some of the trades, Mitch. 58% completion percentage, average 245 yards passing per game, 1 touchdown, 1 interception per game, 7 carries for 11 yards and 1 rushing touchdown, 15.2 points per game and +4, -1 scoring week 16 through 18. You would have to think and hope that maybe they start to build around Penix and can get some additional weapons for him, because I don't think the answer is Kyle Pitts there, but we do have Drake London and Bijan Robinson. So Michael Penix, 112, 305, and 312, or Michael Penix in a 12-team start 11.
Before Jackson start getting all the hype, I could have bought into, hey, second round Jackson Dart, the NFL draft could be my 112. I could replace that quarterback production. For me, Penix is young enough. I do believe quarterback 18 is his ceiling. He offers you nothing on the rushing upside, but it's hard also to get a quarterback that's going to start probably for the next couple of years for just the 112. Usually you have to pay quite a bit more than that. So I will give up the 112 for Michael Penix.
That's Michael Penix for me as well.
If I need a quarterback, if he's going to be my quarterback 3, I'm probably not making that trade.
Okay. I think I still would make the move, but the quarterback market in my league would be a determining factor. Mm-hmm. But even if he's my quarterback 3, I think I'm still willing to move that 112. And again, this kind of goes into the way you and I value Michael Penix a little bit differently. Mm-hmm. Geno Smith and 206 for Michael Penix. 12 teams, start 10, half PPR.
Geno Smith.
If this is my quarterback 3, I agree with you here.
If it's my quarterback 2, I want Geno Smith because I think he's going to put up more points than what Penix does.
I know. I can understand that. But especially if he's my quarterback 3, we can get off of that value a little bit. Like I thought that 112 value was fair for Michael Penix. But now Geno Smith, who I have green on the cross-positional tiers, I think he's a buy. But now you're also getting that 206. That's the structure of a move I like. Michael Penix for Tua and 211.
Tua. I already have Tua higher. So, yeah, I'm good with that.
That's an easy one for me as well. I don't think you're necessarily missing out on a super high ceiling by passing on Penix and going Tua, who obviously has all the injury risk. We know that. One more trade here. Oh, I like this one. Drake May and 105 or Michael Penix and 101.
Drake May and the 105. No hesitation.
I will take that side as well. What about like Michael Penix or 26 first? Let's assume random.
Oh, sorry. I'll take Michael Penix every day of the week.
I'll take Michael Penix there as well. So maybe we're not that far off.
We're not. My whole thing is I can't get him up to like quarterback 15, where I think some people could. If he goes out and has a good like 3-week sample, weeks 1 through 3, I think you could see him getting up that high. I think his upside is really capped. Like you are praying that he could have a Jared Goff 2024 type season. And those seasons are so hard to come by with that type of quarterback multiple years in a row that I'm willing just to not buy into him at that price.
Looking at the bubbles here on Dynasty Daddy, is it surprising? Like, were there any players when you looked at this, you were like, I did not think they would be traded nearly as often as they have been?
I will say Jaden Reed, because I didn't think there'd be that many people buying into him. Like his bubble being that big, like I understand people are willing to trade him away. I don't understand how there's 192 trades involving him, people willing to get him. And I'm a Jaden Reed guy.
Do you think it's and this is not a player that we were going to spend time on, but do you think it's because they're just looking to dump him?
Maybe it is. Maybe he's just going for a lot less than what I think he'd be going for.
It's always interesting when you see these players with the larger dots on here, because there has to be a market both ways for it to work. Mm-hmm. Like there has to be people trying to trade somebody away, and there have to be people that are trying to acquire. And these next 3 players we're going to talk about, running back 1, running back 2, and running back 3, Tyrone Tracy, let's start with him. He is the 3rd most traded player. Actually, since I took that note earlier today, he's number 5, but he's still running back 1. Is it interesting to you that Tyrone Tracy, turning 26 this year, in year 2, under contract through 2027, Brian Dable, head coach still, Mike Kafka returning as OC. Is it interesting to you to see that he's the most traded running back across the board?
Yeah, I wonder how many people buying into him know he's going to be turning 26 this year. I just think it's one of those things to where everyone's like, oh, he's young. He came on this year. They have a lot of holes. They probably can't replace him. Devin Singletary kind of sucks. So Tyrone Tracy's a good buy right now. But it's like, right now he is, but we'll see 3 months from now if he still is.
It's always interesting because when you get the running backs at this point in the year, it's people making a bet on Are they going to be replaced or get just extreme competition maybe in free agency or the NFL draft? And by seeing markets on these players, you would have to think that a lot of people think Tyrone Tracy is safe, like you mentioned. Like, they have a lot of holes they have to fill here. So KTC running back 23, Fantasy Kelk running back 25, wedged right in between 202 and 203. I have them tiered in the 21 to 27. So I'm not that far from market at all. The Giants have picks 34, well, pick 3, 34, 65, 104, and then a few later picks. So they certainly could look to add a running back. But I do tend to believe that Tyrone Tracy is a little bit on the safer side for this year at least. But does that make me want to go out and spend 202 or 203 on him? I don't know.
Yeah.
I have
see what the trades have to say, because right now I'm more than happy to trade away Tracy, but let's see what the trades actually are.
Okay. See, and these are easy trades. Well, I say easier because there aren't 45 pieces on each side to digest.
So much better. Yep.
So we kind of get to the player's value. Tyrone Tracy and Tua for 106.
We talked about this when we talked about rookie versus vets, about a week ago. Is it Tua, or do you want Shedeur Sanders, type? Maybe it's Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, who knows when the draft actually happens. Are you wanting to get out of Tua for that rookie quarterback? I want Tua. I'm going to stay with Tua here. Yeah, this trade, it's more because of Tua than Tyrone Tracy. Without a doubt. But it's like Tua and 202 or 106, and that's a move I'd be willing to make. Yeah. Tyrone Tracy and 205 or Jalen Waddle, 12 team start 11 full PPR. Jalen Waddle. Without hesitation? Yeah. Really? I have a hard time. If I have Tyrone Tracy on my teams, I'm happy, right? I don't know how much I'm willing to go out and pay current cost to get Tyrone Tracy on my teams. If I already have him, great. Am I going out to buy Tyrone Tracy? No. I would move Jalen. Except for the next trade is Cedric Tillman in the 301 or Tracy. And I'm like, well, of course it's Tracy in that scenario. Okay. What would need to be changed? So Cedric Tillman, 301, and what would make you take the package? 202, 203. Okay. Yeah, now the last trade, the Waddle for Tracy and 205, I think that's more about my thoughts on Jalen Waddle. I don't hate Waddle. You just don't like Waddle. I don't love Waddle. Let's get one more Tyrone Tracy trade here. But again, do the Olave one. Go down 2. No. The goal of all of this is to be able to look at where these players are currently being valued as a result of these trades and just give our overall view as to which way, but also try to do it in a fairly quick fashion, which is a challenge for us. All right, last one for Tyrone Tracy. Tracy and 2026 second round pick or Chris Olave, 12 team start 11 full PPR. I just noticed it's in 19 minutes. We try to do this show in 20 minutes, so we'll speed it up a little bit. Chris Olave. It's the same Jalen Waddle discussion. It's the exact same, but it's just the different wide receivers that you can always mix in these kind of trades. Because people are willing to buy into these running backs. And to get out of the wide receiver that they want to get out of, the Waddle, Olave, Rashee Rice is going to be there for a few people. These are the kind of trades that you can pull off. You kind of have to go for either the future draft capital or the mid-tier picks, like the middle of the second, and look to acquire some riskier assets if you're moving a risky asset. We want to go over to Kenneth Walker. Where was he? He's above Breece Hall there. I'm losing my mind. But Kenneth Walker, he's now overall 8th most traded, running back 3. He entering his age 25 season, free agent after 2025. Mike McDonald, the head coach still. Clint Kubiak coming in.
Running back 12 on KTC, running back 13 on Fantasy Calc. I have him 13 to 20, and then he's between 105 and 106 based on the Fantasy Calc trades. Running back 12 last year at 16.5 PPR points per game, but it doesn't feel that way based on the way he's talked about.
I still like him. I just have a hard time, getting them at that running back 7 or whatever he's listed at now, especially with an incoming class. That's my biggest worry, right?
All right, well, let's look at this first one. There are a few more pieces, but Jaden Reed, Jalen Coker, 201 and 311 are Evan Ingram, Kenneth Walker, and Brenton Strange. It's 12 team start, 10 full PPR, and you get an extra point for tight ends.
Getting that extra point for tight ends and getting that tight ends, the whole tight end room for the Jaguars, which I really like to buy into. We've seen how Trevor Lawrence loves to throw to them. You get Kenneth Walker on top for pretty much like a Jaden Reed. Yeah, I'm taking Kenneth Walker there.
Getting Ingram and Strange together, it's like whenever you get all three of the properties in Monopoly, and then
exactly. They got to pay a little bit extra to come get them now.
But it's nice to have one or two of the properties on the Monopoly board. But it's so much more valuable to acquire.
Boardwalk and Park Place. It's pretty much how it is.
I don't know if they're Boardwalk and Park Place, but I love Evan Ingram, so
I like change, so it works.
All right. Kenneth Walker or 107 and Adonai Mitchell.
See, this is what I was saying. Like, I want the 107 because I want the running backs coming into the league this year. You? Don't think you're going to get out of answering these.
No, I'll take 107.
Okay. Ooh, George Pickens and Kenneth Walker or Bucky Irving. This to me is insanity. But I know how the Dynasty community loves Bucky Irving, so you could probably have this happen.
They do love Bucky Irving. We've heard in our comments. I will take the package here.
Same.
All right. And then let's go back over here. Final player, the running back 1, and then overall rank 5. Wasn't Tyrone Tracy running back 1, overall 5?
They both
Maybe they're tied.
Yeah, they're tied.
They both have 203 trades.
Yep. And I understand people trading Breece Hall because there's people who are, hey, I'm sick of it. He's not living up to his potential. And there's people like me, really, who believe he could still get better in the NFL. And so the potential is still there. So I completely understand why he's traded so highly right now.
Do you think, like, you have the passing game coordinator over the last 3 years from Detroit going to be the OC, Tanner Engstrand? Do you think that's a plus here for Breece Hall in this offense?
It's not worse than what we've seen the last 2 years. That's the thing, is I think this offense can only get better. Granted, we don't know who the quarterback's going to be at this point, but as long as it's a competent quarterback, I think Breece Hall has top 5 fantasy running back potential. And so if I could buy that for Keon Coleman in the 112, I'm in every single day of the week.
I also would take Breece Hall over Coleman in the 112. Breece Hall and George Pickens are the 102.
This one's tough because I love Amari and Hampton, and Hampton is my 102. I'm going to go Breece Hall and George Pickens.
I also will go Breece Hall and George Pickens.
Ooh, I thought we'd be different on that one.
I'm not even going to read this next trade because I think that's malarkey. Breece Hall for Bryce Young and Christian Kirk, 12 team start 11, half PPR, super flex. That's where I am too. Breece Hall in a 26th third for Derrick Henry in 105.
Derrick Henry in the 105, like without a doubt.
Yeah, that's where I am too. And then Breece Hall or 106 and 206.
This is such a good trade. This is the which one, where's the
which
running back
team going?
Yeah. Is Travion Henderson now that 106? Is it Caleb Johnson? Or can you get Luther Burden at that spot and a really good second round running back? So I'm probably going to go the draft picks here.
I would lean the draft picks.
I think there's more to do with them as well.
this is the price though, right? And this is a
Yes.
conversation that we were having in the DD Discord the other day, yesterday maybe, about it was actually Barkley for almost this exact trade. And I was like, I would take the picks, but I couldn't fault anybody for wanting that difference maker. And it's like between Barkley and Breece Hall, I have them tiered together. There is the age difference, but the ceiling and the production that we've seen from Barkley has just been absolutely incredible. But this is a very good price, I think. But I'm going to take the picks in most spots here.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
So working through 5 of the top 8 most traded players. Again, trending fantasy, looking at some players that you could say are trending. Make sure you check out the DD Fantasy Football YouTube channel. A lot of great content. Over recent weeks, Mitch and I put out our top 10 2025 rookie running backs, top 10 rookie wide receivers. We got a brand new mock draft from Shane and Scott that hit the channel. I already referenced the All Gas Trade Show, which hit the channel recently. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you use code Theory. Come over to ddfantasyfootball.com. Get 50% off your first month. Check out all the great resources and tools that are available. And then jump in the DD Fantasy Football Discord community. A ton of great conversations happening. For Mitch Sorensen, I'm John Bauer. We'll catch everybody next week. Keep trending. Keep trending.